with a few buds for over a year now. I still feel like we don't understand. You're only gonna understand each other if you talk. If you talk after, like, you have to talk about your games afterwards. Like, if you see, anytime we play, we always talk after our games. And actually, this is kind of something I want to talk about too. We had a pretty big argument with the team not too long ago after one of these matches. I'm not gonna get into no details of who did what, who said what, but yeah, it was like a pretty long talk, and I feel like that's the most underrated aspect of a lot of these NA teams or teams in general is just communication skills. Like, that is the foundation of building any high level team. And I see it all the time on Twitter. I see it all the time on ESCA forums, and these people are constantly posting LFT ads, LFP ads, looking for player, looking for team. Oh, just got kicked, just got benched, yada yada. And it's like, I feel like a lot of these people are getting kicked for things they could just fucking talk about if people knew how to talk. Like, if people really knew how to talk, like, no one would be getting kicked. Because like no one should be getting kicked from teams unless they're like fundamentally flawed. They're out of hand ragers, you know, like crazy exceptions. But I feel like a lot of these people aren't these crazy exceptions. I see constantly looking for teams and stuff, you know. And to order to build like a deep chemistry with your teammates is that you have to communicate, you have to talk, you have to say how you feel. You know, hey, I honestly, I don't like when you push banana. It makes me yada yada yada. Or, yo, when you push this, like, why are you pushing this? I feel like that's just not the right play. You know, communication skills in a nutshell. You got to express how you feel. Everything. Things you're uncomfortable with, things you're happy with, everything. Every fucking thing, bro. Like, I've had talks with the teams about stuff that's like out of game too. Like, stuff that I'm uncomfortable with, whatever. Like, that's part of building a good team. And I see these people getting kicked, and it's like loyalty goes a long way. Loyalty goes a really long way. And these teams, like, people don't understand, like, they think they could just plug and chug with these teammates, and it just doesn't work that way. And essentially, communication in a nutshell, I mean, my teammate Eli explained it best, is just catering to the other person. Essentially, what you're doing when you're communicating, you have these arguments with your teammates, you explain how you feel, and then they explain how they feel. You acknowledge that. That's the biggest part, is acknowledging how the other person feels. Being like, okay, I see why you feel that way. And then stating your response. And then they state yours. It's all about acknowledging and validating the other person's feelings, and then stating your response, and then coming to a conclusion. And then if you can't come to a conclusion, this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing. Disagree and commit to one idea. Like, this is the biggest thing with teams. I've had arguments with Rob about a lot of things, and we just disagree sometimes, and we commit to an idea, and we're still teammates because we're not on some pussy shit like kicking each other. We understand how team chemistry works, and most of the times we do come to a conclusion. But that's another thing too. A lot of these teams is they feel like harmony is like the ideal environment of a team, and it's not true. Like, your team arguments are healthy, and healthy arguments are healthy. Like, there can be really bad arguments, but if you know how to argue, arguments and conflict is really healthy in a team because it leads to progress. You know, yeah, you said like a relationship in a weird way. It literally is a relationship. I have a relationship with all my teammates. They are my teammates. That's the relationship we have with each other. And so we have to be honest. We have to be open with each other. How we feel, you know, like, we've gotten into some personal shit with each other, and that just makes us play better. A lot of these things, like, there was like I said, the argument that happened before, there's like the big argument. Basically, if we didn't talk about what we talked about, they still would have been mad. But we talked about it, and we're like, oh shit, there was no reason kind of to be mad about this. Like, I see why you were mad, but, you know, yada yada yada. Like, once you get the other side of the story, it's easier to understand the other person and actually calm down. And if you don't communicate your issues, you know, if you have a problem with your teammate saying something, or the way he tilts, or anything, bro, fucking anything, if you don't tell them, you are doing them a disservice, because you build up resentment. You subconsciously build up resentment to this person by not expressing how you feel about them. And you have to bring up fucking everything. If they don't talk enough, if they talk too much, if you don't like the way they peak banana, everything. Talk about everything. Say how you feel. Let them say how they feel. Validate each other. You know, listen first, like, really listen, and then, you know, try and come to a conclusion. And then if you can't come to a conclusion, agree to disagree, and then disagree and commit to an idea. Because harmony is not the best solution. And if you try to please everyone, then no one's pleased. Like, there has to be some times where someone doesn't get their way, and that's fine. And most normal people are fine without getting their way, as long as they feel heard first. So, like, if you have an argument with someone and you know you're not gonna budge, still listen to the other person, hear them, talk to them, question them, and then, you know, be like, I see what you're saying, but I still disagree. And the other person's likely gonna be fine with it. But if you don't listen to them at all, and you just dismiss what they're saying, dismiss how they feel, they're not going to be open to your ideas. It's all about validating the other person, and then, you know, trying to come to a conclusion. And you have to be able to have that trust in your teammates to be able to say how you feel about them. And that honestly does take some time, but the only way you're going to build that trust is by doing it, by actually communicating and seeing that, you know, there's not going to be backlash. Like I don't have any problem at all saying I saw someone do something wrong or I saw something that I didn't like. I don't have any problem bringing that up to my teammates at all because I know that nothing's going to happen. And they don't have any problem bringing that up to me because we know that no one's going to get kicked for it. And this is why loyalty goes a long way, because when you have these teams that are constantly kicking people, then people get scared to speak up and say their mind because they're in fear of being kicked. And because now they're in fear of being kicked and now they're not speaking their mind, they're building this subconscious resentment because they're not saying how they feel. And this subconscious resentment leads to more arguments with like actual outbursts and not, you know, at a logical level. And then that just leads to people getting kicked, and the cycle fucking repeats and repeats and repeats. And now you have this fucking dead NA scene where no one knows how to talk to each other, you know? And I think a lot of part of this too, this is just like kind of my inference on the whole environment NA. But generally speaking, if someone's going to be good at CS, they're probably going to play video games a lot. And generally people who play video games a lot aren't the most social people, and they don't have the best social skills. So this is why you have this like constant cycle of people kicking each other and, you know, really bad communication in team environments. But that's just like my inference on the whole environment. Yeah, loyalty goes a long way, man. Goes a really long way. That's why these academy teams do really good. Like Gambit used to be an academy team. That used to be Gambit. I don't know if it was called Gambit Academy or Gambit Junior or something like that. Gambit Youngsters, I think it was. I could be wrong. Well, I mean they're now C9, but C9 used to be an academy team. And because they're an academy team, they don't have this pressure of needing to perform right away. So they're actually allowed to build this really good chemistry with each other. They have actually like a really good team. That's what I'm trying to build with our team, is just this really good chemistry. Because it's so easy to come to that conclusion like, oh, so and so fucked up, let's just fucking kick them. Like, because someone else won't do that, but you don't realize everything that's going to cost you. For like 2-3 years, we do have like a argument, but it's quite rare. I feel like it's a good thing, like you said, gets the cobwebs off. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that you want to have arguments. Like you should have arguments, but hopefully everyone knows how to argue where it doesn't turn into what people will think are arguments. Like people tend to have this like idea that arguments are always like outbursts and, you know, people yelling at each other. That is an argument, but that's not what all arguments are. All arguments are just a disagreement, you know, and they can be emotional, they can be logical. Every team should have arguments, hopefully logical, more on the logical side, but even emotional arguments are fine too, as long as you have that trust in each other to be able to express your emotions and exactly how you feel. Because I'll tell them, I'll be like, yeah, if you like when you did this, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of tilted me. And then you're able to discuss that, why that tilted me, why he did that, and then everyone can see each other's sides. And that's what chemistry is. It's just understanding your teammates to a really deep level, on the emotional level, mental level, mechanical level, strategic level, all that stuff.